Hey, this is DJ again with xdbuckers.com, and I'm just following up on my last unboxing video of the 7-link jumping stilts. If you haven't checked that out, be sure to pause this video, go back and check that out real quick. Anyway, I've had a few hours on these stilts. I've had pretty much the last few days throughout the weekend, and I've had enough time to come forth with my first impressions. And my first 45 minutes on these stilts, I got on them the day I unboxed them. I was raring to go, and I went straight outside, strapped them on, got the new the GT Cobra cuff system in place. And if you recall from my previous video, I was initially skeptical over this overlapping Velcro system and being safe and actually holding me in place. And I went out, strapped them on. I was a little hesitant. I did a few jumps, and just like how everybody else said, they were really stable and secure. It was perhaps one of the most comfortable cuff experiences I've ever had on a set of jumping stilts. So, this part of the stilts, I really like it. Looking over the rest of the stilts, after a few hours wear on just bare hooves, any experienced stilt user will tell you that you're going to notice some tread wear. All stilts usually come with this a thin layer of tread on the end of their hooves, and after your first use, it's usually gone. Well, with these, I've used them for about an hour, and I've had another member of my club, my younger brother, he's used them for about 3 hours, and you can barely tell it with these. Well, anyway, with these hooves, I've really noticed them being, just what 7-link claimed them to be, kind of superior to the other hooves on the market. This is just going after my first weekend of using them, but I've used many other brands. I've used the dreaded Skyrunner, I've used Powerizer, I've used Power Strider, I've used the CZ Olympics, I've been on other brands of stilts, and you always notice after a few hours of use the wear on the hoof. And with these, it really looks, they've got about 4 hours use on them so far, and it really looks like we're still within the first half hour wear on these, and that's fantastic. And that's probably one of my favorite features on these stilts so far. In fact, I am really considering upgrading all my brands of stilts just for these hooves. But anyway, back to my first experience on the stilts. Initially, I went out onto the drive, tried them on, experienced the cuffs. I did, however, have a slight problem with these bars twisting on me initially. It was no big deal. I just sat back down, retightened them, and I basically figured out the secret is to tighten these tighter than what you think they need to be tightened. And then, ever since I've done that, they've been solid, they've stayed in place. Which is great for me because I've always had a problem with these cuff bars. I'm a pretty tall guy, if you can't tell from my videos, and I usually always have to have the bars nearly fully extended. But with these, it looks just like how everybody else has their bars, about midway through, which is great. One great positive fact that I've noticed about these stilts in my initial use was just how quiet they are. Now, like if you've ever used Powerizer, Power Strider, or any of the brands that's always used this tried and true design that's basically copied Power Skips over the years, you've always noticed that familiar clack clack sound. You hit the ground, you hear the sound of your hooves hitting the ground. You go up, and you hear the sound of this bearing, wiggling around, and your spring hitting it. And with these, they're loaded down with so many washers and that wobble stopper right here that it's pretty much silent due to that fact. And the bearing is supposedly covered with a Teflon spray, so they don't really need lubricated. So with that being said, these stilts are very quiet. I noticed that straight away, and I was really pleased with it. I really like the hooves again. They have excellent grip, excellent traction. I should have mentioned that when I was covering hooves the last time. It just came to my mind. Now the spring dynamic, it was interesting. I'm on the higher end in the weight ranges. I'm around 200 pounds. I've been using stilts since 2008. I started using some old Skyrunners at the highest weight class, and then I went to PowerRazors at the highest weight class, and I'm able to pretty much bottom a set of PowerRazors almost straight out of the box. And so got on these, and these are noticeably softer. And personally, it was basically the first couple of jumps. It was fine, and then I'm going at it, and I just started bottoming in nearly every jump, which if you've ever bottomed before, it's a good thing to know that you can do it. But in all other practice, it's not really a good thing, and you don't want to be banging you don't want to be banging the frame against your spring constantly. It's not good on the stilt, and you pretty much lose all height from it. I did like how smooth the springs were. I was able to do some low to the ground tricks pretty quickly, and I was able to spin and do all the stuff that you could on basically any other stilt. But again, I was buying them right away, and that's just in my first initial use. It might just require that I train myself back so I'm not jumping as hard, because the last few months, almost a year, I've been using the CZ Olympic series, and if you've ever used those, you'll realize it's a little bit harder to get to the end part of the spring. And I can bottom I use 99 kg springs on those, and I can bottom them basically whenever I want after just a couple jumps. And so, but however, I still really like the stilts. If not so much for myself, since I was buying these out so much when I first used them, I decided to let some other experienced Bachers give them a go. I went out, it was this Easter weekend, this last weekend, to visit family, and my younger brother has been Baching for the last couple of years as well. He's been using the Power Strider M Shark Series stilts. It's the old Power Striders that were released to compete with the PowerRazer Advance, and he's been using the highest spring weight class. I want to say that's like 120 kgs for that model, but it's been a while since I've looked into it. And those are a bit, they're probably a bit too tough for him. The springs, or they're too stiff. So he can jump, but he's usually, by the time he's in the air, he's too tired to try to do any tricks. And with these are the same weight class, and he got on them, and he was jumping noticeably higher. He was jumping a lot better, and he started doing tricks, and I started teaching him some more. He started doing some split kicks. He started doing a back grab. He was just having a blast on them. He said it was one of the most enjoyable times he's had out on stilts in a long time. So he's pretty much sold on the design, and he weighs a bit less than me. He's probably like 170, 180, and so somebody in his weight and with his stilt experience, these things seem to be pretty much perfect for him. And again, I'm going to personally use these myself some more for a while, just to see if it's true that I'm going to continue bottoming them, and then I really kind of like to see what the wear is. And I'm also going to let him use them some more. I've got some video of him over the weekend using them, and I'm going to edit that into this video. And we got a bunch of cool pictures, and I'm going to get some other people up on these stilts and see if we can gauge reactions of not just my own opinion, but a bunch of people's opinions in my local club. And so just check back for that video. Accompanying this release, this video, if you see this video posted with the blog, you're already going to see my write-up. If not, if you're not watching through the blog, be sure to look up either on xdbachers.com/blog for a copy of this post, or go to dcpowerstilts.com, navigate to their blog, the PowerStilt blog, for a copy of the post. Typically, I usually post things to the PowerStilt blog first, so then I trickle down to other blogs, and after a couple days, I'll usually post them everywhere. So eventually, you're going to see it. But if you want this right away, go ahead and check out the PowerStilt blog. And I'm just going to keep reminding everybody up until May 5th and May 6th that Bach the South is happening in Savannah, Georgia. I'm going to be there along with some other Bachers that was there last year. If you haven't already, go ahead and check out the Bakta South 2011 video. That was all of us. We had a blast last year, and go ahead and look in the description. I'll have another link to the Facebook event where you can RSVP there. And hopefully I can see you guys there, and I'm going to have the 7 leagues with me, and if anybody's interested in having a go on them, they're more than welcome.